Morning students, I'm Iqbal Rasool. Our today's topic is urea cycle. Before we start urea cycle, there are so many nitrogenous wastes which are produced inside the body of an organism. The first one is that is ammonia. This ammonia is the one of the last or end product of the amino acid metabolism or protein metabolism. By the process of deamination or transamination, this ammonia is also formed from the nucleic acids, that is from pyrimidines, also from purines as well as from pyrimidines. Now, firstly, we will start actually the urea. Actually, the one of the important, the only one of the important nitrogenous waste product is that is ammonia. We will here write the structure of the ammonia. This is simply we write the structure of ammonia as NH3 or NH3. This is the structure of the ammonia. This is the one this is the main auxiliary product. This is the main nitrogenous waste product. But other two waste products are urea and uric acid. This is ammonia. Other two are urea and uric acid. This is the urea, structure of urea, and finally uric acid. And this is the uric acid. The main auxiliary product is that is ammonia, and the two auxiliary products that is urea and uric acid. These are produced from the ammonia. That is the main auxiliary product is ammonia, and these urea and uric acid are generated from the ammonia by various mechanisms. And why these are produced? Why ammonia is produced? Why urea is produced? Why uric acid is produced? If ammonia is a waste product, then why these two are produced? We will here explain why these are produced. This ammonia is produced. Firstly, we will see why it is produced. It is produced mostly in case of aquatic animals or aquatic organisms. And why it is produced in case of aquatic organisms? Because it is highly toxic in nature. And when the ammonia is produced, at that time, this ammonia is expelled out. This ammonia is excreted out immediately because this is highly toxic. And why it occurs in case of aquatic animals? Because these aquatic animals, are, as you know, that these are present in water. These are present in water. Therefore, the ammonia which is produced inside the body is easily excreted outside the body directly into the water. So this ammonia excretion requires high content of water. This ammonia requires large quantity of water for its excretion, and the organisms which show this type of excretion are known as ammonotelic. And this mechanism is known as ammonotelism. This was about the ammonia. After that, there is a production of the urea. This urea is produced in both aquatic as well as terrestrial animals. And this urea is not as toxic as that of the ammonia. That means it is, we take here, it is medium toxic. Medium. It is highly toxic. Highly, and this is medium. And if we take the example of the urea, this urea is not directly produced. This urea is, if we take the example of human beings, then this urea is produced inside the liver, and this is produced inside the liver, and this, after production from the liver, after producing from the liver, this urea enters directly into the blood stream, and after that from blood stream it directly reaches to the kidneys, where it is excreted out. And this urea is not highly toxic. Therefore, when it is not highly toxic, it does not require as much amount of water as is required by the ammonia, as is required by the ammonotelic organisms. That means these organisms with less amount of water. In other words, we can also say that the organisms which show this type of excretion, they do not require much amount of water, they require medium amount of water. These organisms which show this type of excretion are known as ureotelic, and this mechanism known as ureotelism. And in this case, one of the best example is that is human beings. In this case, best example is Hydra. Because we have deal with the human beings, so we take here only the example of human beings. And finally, the uric acid. This uric acid mostly takes place in aerial animals, that is in case of birds and reptiles. And this uric acid is less toxic. That means it is highly toxic, it is medium toxic, and it is less toxic. When the uric acid is less toxic, therefore this uric acid does not require any amount of water. Let us take it requires the negligible amount of water. If we take the example, it requires 100% of the water, it requires 50% of the water, it requires 5 to 10% of the water. That means negligible. This is the example. This is not the perfect value. I have here considered that for 100%, 50%, or 5 to 10%. This is not a perfect value. This is the simplicity. Therefore, these reptiles, these birds, remove this uric acid in the form of paste. In the form of paste, and these animals which show this type of excretion are known as uricotelic, and this mechanism is known as uricotelism. After that, in this case, this urea is excreted in the form of urine, and in this case it is excreted in the form of paste, as I have already told you here. But in this case it is directly urea, it is directly, that is ammonia, which is directly entered into the water, which is directly excreted into the water. So here is the ammonia which is directly entered into the water, which is directly excreted from the organism. But here in case this humans are other this uricotelium organisms, this urea is converted in the form of urine, and in this organ, in these organisms, this uric acid is converted in the form of paste. So that means these are the three main wastes. These are the three main nitrogenous wastes which are produced inside the living organism. But the main is that is ammonia, which is the waste nitrogenous waste product, and other two, these two waste products are the derived from the ammonia. But finally, we called it, here are the three types of the wastes which are present, which are produced inside the living organism, that is ammonia, that is urea, and that is uric acid. And finally, we have to deal with the urea cycle. Our today's topic is urea cycle, so we will deal only with the urea, not with uric acid, and not with the ammonia. And now we will see the how urea cycle formation occurs and where the formation of the urea cycle occurs. Now we will see the urea cycle, this urea cycle. As we know that, I have already told you that is nitrogenous waste product is that is ammonia, and the other two are the derivatives of the ammonia, that is urea and uric acid. These are the two derivatives of the ammonia. Sorry. Now, this urea Or this ammonia, firstly we will take the example of ammonia. This ammonia is present in the form of ammonium ion in case of human beings. The point to be noted here, this ammonia is present in the form of ammonium ion in case of human beings, and this ammonium ion is responsible for the production of urea in liver. How the production occurs, how there is the urea formation occurs, we will consider later on. But this production, the production of the formation of the urea occurs in case of liver. After that, it is excreted, it is transported via the blood stream, and finally it reaches to kidneys, where it is expelled out in the form of urine. This is simply the urea cycle. Also, we know that this urea cycle occurs in liver, and this urea cycle was first elucidated by Hans Krebs and Hensley. Therefore, it is also known as Krebs Henselite cycle. But the reactions, but the few reactions, the five reactions which take place in urea cycle were described by Cohen and Ratner. Now we will see here the structure of the urea, as I have already shown here. That is, this is the ammonia. This is the urea. Here are the two NH2 groups which are attached with the carbon atom. Now, what is the fate of these two NH2 groups, or what is the fate of these nitrogenous wastes or nitrogenous which are present in these NH2 groups? This is the first one and this is the second one. These are the two nitrogenous NH2 groups in case of urea. The first one is these two NH2 groups are derived from the two different substrates. One substrate is ammonia directly. That is, one NH2 is derived from the NH3, that is simply ammonia, and another is derived from aspartate. This is the important point, that is, these two NH2 groups are derived from the two different substrates, one from ammonia and another from aspartate. These are the two NH2 groups which are, this is the structure of simply urea, and this is the NH2 group which is derived from ammonia, this is the NH2 group which is derived from the aspartate, and finally there is the another, that is carbon. This carbon is derived from the carbon dioxide which was produced during the cellular respiration. Now we will take the urea cycle. This urea cycle consists of the five-man reaction or five-man steps. Now, what are the five-man reactions? The two reactions in five reactions. The two reactions take part in mitochondria, or the two reactions take place in mitochondria, and the other three take place in cytosol. That means the first two reactions which take place in the mitochondria. Why they take place in the mitochondria? Because the first two reactions, the enzymes of the first two reactions are present in mitochondria. Enzymes are present in mitochondria, and the next three reactions which occur in the cytosol, the enzymes of these three reactions are present in the cytosol. That means the enzymes are not present at the one place, these are present at the two different places. That is one place at the mitochondria and and the other at cytosol. So this urea cycle take place in two parts, that is mitochondria as and cytosol. Now, what are the five reactions that take place in the urea cycle? The first one is formation of cob-amyl phosphate. Now, this reaction takes place, firstly, if this is the first reaction of the urea cycle, and this takes place inside the mitochondria, as I have already told you. Now I will show here the reactions. It is the ammonium ion NH4 positive which combines with the carbon dioxide. As I have already told you, this is the ammonium ion which combines with the carbon dioxide and it forms cob-amyl phosphate. Now what is the enzyme which is required for the production of cob-amyl phosphate? Actually the enzyme here is cob-amyl phosphate synthase, that is CPS first, because there are the two cob-amyl phosphates, that is cob-amyl phosphate first and cob-amyl phosphate second, but here the only cob-amyl phosphate is, the role of here is cob-amyl phosphate synthase first, and this reaction is known as condensation reaction, in which the ammonium ion combines with the carbon dioxide and forms cob-amyl phosphate, and this reaction is energy dependent, and the energy here is in the form of ATP, and there this reaction, that is this condensation reaction, requires the energy in the form of ATP. And how many ATPs are utilized here? Two ATPs are utilized for the combination of the ammonium ion with carbon dioxide to form cob-amyl phosphate, and in addition to that, this enzyme, that is cob-amyl phosphate synthase first, that is CPS first, requires an acetyl glutamate for its activity. That means this cob-amyl phosphate synthase first is more active in the presence of N-acetyl glutamate. That means this requires for its activity N-acetyl glutamate, and this reaction is the rate limiting step in case of urea cycle. That means this, how much urea is produced, whether it is produced in a high quantity, whether it is produced in a less quantity. This depends upon the first reaction of the urea cycle, that is condensation reaction, in which cob-amyl phosphate synthase is required as enzyme, and this reaction depends upon the energy, and this is an active reaction. This is not a basic reaction because it depends upon the requirement of the energy, and here two ATPs are consumed. Now the second reaction of the urea cycle is formation of citrulline. This formation of citrulline, firstly we will here consider, that means this reaction takes place in the mitochondria, as I have already told you. Now I will show here, this is the portion of mitochondria. For example, this is the mitochondria that I have written in the form of M, that means mitochondria, and this is a C, that means cytosol. And this cob-amyl phosphate is the main product for the synthesis of, for the formation of citrulline, but this cob-amyl phosphate requires the another, that is ornithine. This ornithine is present in the cytosol. This ornithine moves, this ornithine is now transported inside the mitochondria by its own mechanism, by its own transport system, and here the cob-amyl phosphate in the, and ornithine, these two combine and they form citrulline. Here is the production of citrulline in the mitochondria, that is there occurs the synthesis of citrulline This citrulline is produced, this citrulline is synthesized from carbamyl phosphate and ornithine by the enzyme that is ornithine transcarb amylose. Amylase. Here is the enzyme that is transcarb amylase or ornithine transcarb amylase, which combines, which synthesizes the carbamyl phosphate, which synthesizes citrulline from ornithine and carbamyl phosphate. After that, this citrulline is produced, this citrulline is synthesized inside the mitochondria, and this citrulline is now transported from mitochondria outside the from mitochondria to outside cytosol. And now this citrulline is present in cytosol, and this citrulline is transported by its own mechanism, from mitochondria to citrulline. After that, here is the presence of aspartate also. In case of cytosol, here is presence of the aspartate, and this citrulline, now this citrulline and this aspartate combine here, and this reaction is a condensation reaction, and here is the formation of arginosuccinate. That means the citrulline and aspartate, they condense together and they form the arginosuccinate, and here the enzyme is, that is third reaction, formation of the arginosuccinate. Number third, formation of arginosuccinate. This formation of arginosuccinate requires the enzyme arginosuccinate synthase, and this reaction is also energy dependent, and this energy also takes place in the presence of energy, that here is also need of ATP, but here the ATPs are transformed into ADPs, but here is the ATP is transformed into AMP. That means this condensation requires energy, and this condensation requires energy. This condensation requires 2 ATPs, and this condensation requires 1 ATP for the production of arginosuccinate. Number 4 is the cleavage of arginosuccinate. Now this arginosuccinate is cleaved into two products. Now this arginosuccinate is cleaved into arginine and fumarate. And this reaction occurs the enzyme that is arginosuccinase. That means here the two products are formed, that is arginine and fumarate. Now this fumarate is has a link. This fumarate is directly linked with the TCA cycle and gluconeogenesis. Now only here the product is, that is arginine. This arginine moves ahead. Here is the next step, that is last, and here is the last step, that is last reaction, that is formation of urea. This formation of urea occurs from the arginine, that is produced. This urea is produced from the arginine. Occurs the enzyme, that is arginase, and this reaction is also a cleavage reaction, and here the two products are also formed. Number 1 is, that is ornithine, and number next, that is urea. These are the two products which are formed from the arginine, but this urea is produced here. The water is required, That means this arginine is cleaved into ornithine and the urea in the presence of water. That means simply in the presence of water, urea is formed, and here the arginine is here the arginine is regenerated. The fate of the arginine is that is arginine. As I have already told you, that means what is the fate of the ornithine? Now this ornithine is prepared. This ornithine is formed from the arginine by the cleavage process, by the cleavage reaction, and the enzyme required here is that is arginase, and here is the formation of the urea. Here is the production of the urea. This is the urea which is produced inside the liver of an organism. And now this urea is produced inside the liver. These how many reactions take place? There are the 5 reactions, that is 5 enzymes are required for the reaction, but the 4 enzymes, that is number 1 enzyme, number 2 enzyme, carbamyl phosphate synthase first enzyme, ornithine transcarbamylase second enzyme, arginosuccinate synthesis third enzyme, arginosuccinase fourth enzyme, and arginase is the 5th enzyme. This 5th enzyme must be noted here, and this enzyme is present in liver. This enzyme is present in liver. Other 4 enzymes are present in every cell, but the arginase is only present in the liver. So why the urea is produced inside the liver? Why the urea is produced from the liver? It is due to the reason because the arginase is the enzyme. This enzyme is present only in case of liver. So the urea formation occurs in the liver. Now we will take the overall reaction of the cycle. This overall reaction of the urea cycle is that NH4 ion plus carbon dioxide plus aspartate plus 3 ATPs. The result is the formation of urea, fumarate plus twice ADP plus AMP plus inorganic phosphates. But what is the amount of the how many ATPs are involved? If we have a look on the ATPs, here the 2 ATPs are involved, here the 1 ATPs are involved, that means 3 ATPs are involved, but the total number of ATPs involved are 4. How? Why? Reason is that here 2 ATPs are involved, no problem, no doubt here. But in this case, in this reaction, here is the doubt which I will clear here. That is how many ATPs are involved. That is ATP. ATP means that is converted into the AMP. Have a look here. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. ADP means adenosine diphosphate. AMP means adenosine monophosphate. That means firstly 2 ATPs are involved, and here 1 ATP is involved, but here is a formation of AMP. That means 2 are involved, net 2 are involved. Therefore, in case of urea cycle, 4 ATPs are utilized. 4 ATPs are utilized for the production of carbamyl phosphate, for the production of arginosuccinate. 2 ATPs are involved for the production of carbamyl phosphate. Here only 1 ATP is involved in the production of the arginosuccinate, but the ATP is converted into AMP. That means here which is equal to 2 number of ATPs. But if we write a general reaction, this is a general reaction. But if we go at a proper point, then 4 ATPs are utilized in case of urea cycle. Now, this was about the urea cycle, which takes place inside the human beings, which takes place inside the liver of an organism, and this urea is produced inside the liver. Finally, it is transported via the blood stream to kidneys. From the kidneys, it is excreted out from the body. Here, Allah.